Hello students, let us get started with the chapter 1 of the subject Advanced Structural Analysis. This chapter is the introduction to stiffness method in matrix form. Stiffness method is one of the type of method which is used for analysis of indeterminate structure. So stiffness method in matrix form we'll be studying in this particular chapter. So let's get started with the lesson 1. We'll see the introduction to what is the stiffness method, what is flexibility method, and also see what are stiffness and flexibility matrix separately. Okay. So before getting into the stiffness method, we have to know how many methods are there for the analysis of statically indeterminate structure. We have already seen in the prerequisites chapter what are statically indeterminate structure and how to identify statically indeterminate structure. Now, if a structure is statically indeterminate, how to analyze them? What are the methods which are available to analyze these statically indeterminate structures? We'll see. Okay. The statically indeterminate structures can be analyzed using two methods. One is the compactability method, or they are also called as force method, and the second one is the equilibrium methods, or they are also called as displacement methods or deformation methods. So how many methods are there for analysis of statically indeterminate structure? Two methods. First one is compactability method, the second one is equilibrium method. Now let's see one by one how many compactability methods are there and what are compactability methods, and also how many equilibrium methods are there and what are equilibrium methods. Okay, so first let's start with equilibrium methods. Equilibrium methods, as I told you, are also known as displacement methods or deformation methods. Now this is a very important point. Equilibrium methods are based on your degree of freedom, DOF, that is your kinematic indeterminacy, degree of kinematic indeterminacy. So based on DOF, all your equilibrium method will be dependent. Now they're called displacement methods because here displacements of the joints are chosen as unknowns. So that's the reason they are also called as displacement or deformation method. And why are they called equilibrium methods is because we use equilibrium equations for solving the problem. These equations are used to solve the problems. That's why we call them as equilibrium methods. Okay. So to brief up, equilibrium methods are also called as displacement methods or deformation methods. They are based on the degrees of freedom, and displacement of joints here are chosen as unknowns, and equilibrium equations are used to solve the problem. That's the reason the name equilibrium method and the displacement method. Now there are so many types of equilibrium methods. So these are the four types of equilibrium methods which are available for us. First one is the slope deflection method, second one is the moment distribution method, third one is the minimum potential energy method, and the fourth one is the stiffness coefficient method in the matrix form. So this chapter is all about stiffness coefficient method. So this stiffness coefficient method will come under your equilibrium methods, where you use equilibrium equations for solving problem and you use the displacement of the joints as unknown, and all these methods are based on the degree of freedom. Okay, so moving on to the compactability methods. Compactability methods are also called as what? Force methods. Now what are these based on? Compactability methods are based on degree of redundancy. Degree of redundancy. Okay, or degree of static indeterminacy. Okay, so we have already seen how to find out the degree of redundancy for a given structure in the previous classes, right? Now here, why is this called force method is the forces are chosen as unknown in this compactability method. In equilibrium method, displacements are chosen as unknown, whereas in compactability method, forces are chosen as unknown. And in equilibrium method, we use equation of equilibrium to solve the problem, whereas in compactability methods, we use compactability equations to solve the problem. That's the reason the name compactability methods. Okay, now there are many methods which are based on the compactability equations. So what are those methods? See, there are 7 methods. The first one is the method of consistent deformation, or it's also called as general method sometimes. The second one is nothing but the three moment theorem. Third one is the column analogy method. Fourth one is the elastic center method. These two you will be dealing in your chapter 4. Okay, so then Maxwell-Morse equation, then Castigliano's theorem of minimum strain energy. The last one is your flexibility coefficient method in the form of matrix. This you will be studying in chapter 3 of ASA. This you will be studying in chapter 4 of ASA. Here, this moment distribution method you will be studying in chapter 2 of your subject ASA. Okay, so your chapter 1 will be stiffness coefficient method matrix form. Move further. This is a very important topic. How to choose if you have to use a equilibrium method to solve a problem, or you have to use compactability method to solve a problem. Solve is nothing but to analyze a problem. Now how to choose that depends on 2 points. The first point is the type of structure you are analyzing. It depends upon the type of structure you are analyzing. And the second point is the manner in which it is supported. So how the particular structure is supported, based on that also you can decide whether you have to go for a equilibrium method or a compactability method. So to understand this better, let us take an example and see for this example which method is more suitable. Okay, so this is the first example. Now if you observe, it is a continuous beam which has hinges. So hinge has two reactions, but since there is no horizontal load, let us assume the horizontal reaction to not exist. Because there is no horizontal load, no horizontal reaction will be there. So the reactions what we have will be only vertical. 4 hinges are there. So four unknown reactions you'll have. And how many equations of equilibrium will you have? Right. What are the two equations of equilibrium? Summation V equal to 0 and summation M equal to 0. Summation H will not be there because no horizontal load. Now, suppose you are going for equilibrium method. In equilibrium method, what are the unknowns? Displacements are your unknowns, right? So you will have a displacement at every hinge. So here there will be a displacement, here there will be a displacement, at this point there will be a displacement, as well as at this point. So how many displacements are there? 4 displacements are there, right? So you need to form 4 equations of equilibrium. So in this case, 4 equations of equilibrium should be formed because there are 4 displacements, one at each hinge. Now suppose you go for compactability equations. Now what will happen if you go for compactability equations? There are 4 unknowns, but we already have 2 equations of equilibrium. So using these two, we can find 2 unknowns. So what is the other remaining unknowns we have? We will have only 2 unknowns. This will be the degree of static indeterminacy, right? Now, so we need only 2 equations of compactability here. So in equilibrium method, if we take displacements, 4 equations are required. But in compactability method, if we go for the remaining unknown reactions, only 2 equations of compactability are required. So this is easy, solving this is easy when compared to this. So for this particular problem, choosing which method is easy? Choosing compactability method is easy, right? Now if we take up another example, see, it is the same problem but the ends are fixed here. Okay, now in this case also horizontal load is not there, so horizontal reaction will be 0. But how many unknowns are there here? Here we have one vertical unknown and one moment. Similar to that, in this fixed support also one vertical and one moment. Whereas in hinge you will have 2 vertical. So totally 6 unknown reactions will be there here. And how many equations of equilibrium we have? You have 2 equations of equilibrium. That is your summation V equal to 0 and summation M equal to 0. Now let us see, if we use equilibrium equations, what will happen? So we know that at fixed support your rotation is 0. So here also your rotation is 0. So these are known now. Only the displacement here is unknown, right? Only the displacement here is unknown and the displacement here is unknown. So how many displacements are unknown? Only 2 displacements are unknown. So we need only 2 equations of equilibrium for displacement. When it comes to compactability method, what will happen? We have 6 unknowns, already 2 equations of equilibrium are there, so the remaining unknowns are 4. So we need 4 compactability. The degree of static indeterminacy is 4 here. So we will need how many compactability equations? we'll need 4 equations, 4 compactability equations. So which is easier in this particular case? So in this particular case, choosing equilibrium method is easier. Okay, so based on the type of structure and the types of supports, we have to decide which method we need to choose. So hope you have understood this. Now let's move further to the next topic. See, there are now majorly we will be concentrating on the matrix methods, that's your stiffness method and flexibility method for your ASA subject. So there are different approaches to solve a matrix method. Okay, so there are two approaches. The first one is the direct approach and the second one is the transformation matrix approach. Okay, now when we use direct method is, this is a complete method. So this we use to understand or to get the clear knowledge on, have a clear concept of analysis. If you want to have a clear complete knowledge or concept of analysis of indeterminate structures using matrix method, you have to go for a direct approach. When will we use transformation matrix approaches? If the problems are very long, we will not be able to solve it manually. So in that case, what will happen? We need to write computer programs. So in computer programs, the advantage is whatever is the degree of static indeterminacy, whatever is the degree of kinematic indeterminacy of a structure, we will be able to solve it using computer programs, because manually it is going to take very huge amount of time. So in that particular case, we need to go for transformation matrix approach. So your matrix approaches can be done in two ways. One is a direct approach wherein you do step-by-step concepts of analysis, whereas in transformation matrix approach we use computerized techniques, so that the problem solving will become easier, less time consuming, and for any degree of static or kinematic indeterminacy we will be able to analyze a structure. Okay. So the next topic is, so what is stiffness? Stiffness is the force required to get a unit displacement at any point. So if you need 1 unit displacement, how much force we need to apply at a point, that will give us the stiffness. And what is flexibility in return? Flexibility is the displacement due to unit force. So if you apply a unit force, how much of displacement will happen? That is what is flexibility. Okay, so displacement will call as delta and force will call as P. Stiffness is taken as K and flexibility is taken as F. Okay, so force required to get unit displacement is stiffness, and displacement due to unit force is called as your flexibility. Right. Now, what is the formula for stiffness is? Stiffness is force divided by displacement, whereas flexibility is displacement divided by your force. P is the force in kilonewton and delta is the displacement applied to whatever is the applied force in mm. Okay, so this is your stiffness and this is your flexibility. If you observe, they are inverse of each other. Correct. So what will happen if I do K into F? See, P by delta into delta by P, you will get 1. So the product of stiffness and flexibility is equal to 1 because they are inverse to each other. Okay, once you know the definition of stiffness and flexibility, now let us see what is a stiffness matrix and what is a flexibility matrix. Okay, if we take up a structure which has n number of coordinates, say 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n. Okay, now in that case your stiffness matrix K is given by, this is a generalized matrix. Okay, so if there are n number of coordinates, so K11, K12 up to K1n. Next will be K21, K22 up to K2n. So similarly this will go on up to Kn1, Kn2, so on up to Kn. Now if we want to discuss what are these notations, let us take a generalized term called Kij. So this is a general term. Okay, now in this K stands for force, and what is Kij? Kij is nothing but the force in the direction of coordinate I due to unit displacement given in the direction of coordinate j. Okay, so what is the meaning of I and j? K is your force in the direction of coordinate I due to unit displacement given in the direction of coordinate j. So if you give a unit displacement at j, what is the force at coordinate I is the meaning of the term Kij. If it is K11, what is the meaning? If you give unit displacement at coordinate 1, what is the force at coordinate 1? Similarly here, if you give a unit displacement at coordinate 2, what is the force at coordinate 1? So on. So this is how your matrix is formed. So in this case, what is I? I is the coordinate along which the force is measured, and J is the coordinate along which you give the unit displacement. Okay. So this is about your stiffness matrix. Same thing is applicable for your flexibility matrix. Now in place of K, what will you write? F. So F is nothing but F11, F12, so on up to F1n. So F21, F22, so on up to F2n. So come downwards. This is Fn1, Fn2, so on up to Fn. Okay. So in this, what is the generalized term? Fij. So this will be your general term, and F stands for what? Displacement. So what is this? Displacement in the direction of coordinate I. Displacement in the direction of coordinate I due to unit force given in the direction of coordinate J. So here what will happen? Here what is the meaning? J is the point at which you are giving a unit force, and I is the point at which you are measuring the displacement because of the unit force. So for example, if we take this 2n, n is the point where we are applying the unit force, and 2 is the point where we are finding the displacement because of the unit force at n. So this is your stiffness and flexibility matrix. Now in case of stiffness and flexibility matrix, there is one important point which you have to remember, that is your Kij will be equal to Kji, or your Fij will be equal to Fji. This is due to Maxwell's reciprocal theorem. So that's the reason both your stiffness matrix and your flexibility matrix are diagonally symmetric. They have diagonal symmetry because of this condition, which is the Maxwell's reciprocal theorem. Moving on further, if we want to see what are the properties of a stiffness and flexibility matrix, there are four properties. The first property is they are square matrix and are diagonal symmetry. Diagonal symmetry, I just explained you why they are diagonal symmetry. Now they are square matrix. Say for example, they will be of size n into n, or we can take m into m. Okay, and diagonally this side and this side they'll have symmetric values. Okay, then next property is sum of numerical values of rows and columns will be 0. For example, if it is a 3 into 3 matrix, say A, B, C, I'm just taking an example, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. This is just an example, right? Now, if I add up like this, if I add up row wise, that is A plus B plus C, this will give to 0. Or if I add column wise, A plus X plus 1, this will also give equal to 0. So that is the meaning of sum of numerical values of rows and columns will be 0. Any column, any row. Okay. The next point is the determinant of the matrix is 0. So if I take this as matrix A, the determinant always will come up to equal to 0. So how will you calculate determinant for a 3 into 3 matrix? Say for example, it will be A into Y into 3, this into this, minus 2 into Z. Here you will have plus, minus and plus. So minus B into X into 3 minus 1 into Z plus C into X into 2 minus 1 into Y. So this determinant will always be equal to 0. That is the one more property of your stiffness or flexibility matrix. The last one is the size of this stiffness matrix is very, very important. Whatever is the degree of freedom, the size of the stiffness matrix will be equal to the degree of freedom, and the size of the flexibility matrix will be equal to the degree of redundancy. Say for example, if degree of freedom is 2, the stiffness matrix will be a 2 into 2 matrix. Okay. If the degree of redundancy is say 4, the size of the flexibility matrix will be 4 into 4. Since it is a square matrix, M and N will be equal. Okay, these are the properties of your stiffness and flexibility matrix. So this is all about your stiffness methods, your flexibility methods, and your stiffness and flexibility matrix.